Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Sunday evening, July 13, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I would really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the that's like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so taking a look at the US National Hurricane Center's 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 7:13 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:13 p.m. Jamaica time. We still see that we have that code yellow, that area that has a low chance of development across the northern Gulf. And if we take a look at the infrared satellite images right here, you can see all of the clouds, the showers, and the thunderstorms associated with the system currently affecting Florida, and it's expected to make its way into the northern Gulf of Mexico in the within the next 7 days. According to the Hurricane Center, let us read what they've stated about this area. They've said a trough of low pressure located offshore the Atlantic coast of northern Florida is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms across portions of the southeastern United States, northwestern Bahamas, and adjacent Atlantic waters. This system is forecast to move westward across Florida during the next day or so and into the northeastern Gulf by late Tuesday. Environmental conditions could support some gradual development of this system during the middle to latter part of this week while it moves westward over the northeastern and north central portions of the Gulf. Regardless of development, heavy rainfall could produce localized flash flooding over portions of Florida and the north central Gulf Coast through the middle to latter portion of this week. And we see that they've given this system a 0% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours, that's the next 2 days, and a 20% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And we know that if something should form out of this, the next name on the list is Dexter. On the eastern Pacific side of things, tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days, as you can see here. And this is why the infrared not really showing much of anything. Just some clouds scattered across the intertropical convergence zone of the eastern to the central Pacific. Nothing looking organized at this time. The usual thunderstorm activity across portions of Mexico, Central America, and even portions of Texas. Still getting in on a lot of rainfall over there. I know that if something should form across the eastern Pacific, the next name on the list would be Gil. On the western Pacific side of things, we're still looking at the Joint Typhoon Warning Center here. Still watching that subtropical depression right here to the south of South Korea, to the southwestern tip of Japan right here. It has definitely been bringing a lot of rainfall to portions of South Korea for the past 24 hours. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can see the storm right here to the southeast of Japan, that other tropical storm, the clouds associated with the subtropical depression right in here, that definitely lashed portion of South Korea over the past 24 hours. And if we take a look at what the Joint Typhoon Warning Center is stating regarding this subtropical depression 7, it is expected to push towards the northeast into portion of the southern Japanese islands, and we see that it's expected to decrease in intensity 25 knots down to 20 knots, and we know that anywhere close to 33 knots is considered to be a tropical depression. So it's definitely weakening, as you can see there, but it definitely caused a lot of flooding across portions of South Korea. Here is a weather page that you need to follow if you haven't been following them already. This is Weather Monitor on Twitter. They highlighted Sasang-gu, Busan in South Korea tonight, and look at the rainfall and flooding that took place, all courtesy of that subtropical depression for sure. Look at all of this inundation. This is usually expected when it comes to these tropical systems, and they have been getting lashed over there in South Korea, right in here. But we can see that most of the thunderstorms associated with it are pushing off towards the east. And look at this spin. This spin is associated with the tropical storm that is there, and that is Tropical Storm Nari. As you can see here, it is still pushing off towards the north, passing just to the east of Japan. It could clip the northern islands of Japan later on down the road by maybe July 15, July 14 time frame. As you can see here, it is currently right here to the east of Japan, passing quickly. You can see that it's packing maximum sustained winds of 50 knots. So we know that tropical storms basically pack maximum sustained winds of anywhere from 34 to 64 knots. So it's definitely a medium range or a mid-grade tropical storm. It's not closer to tropical depression status, and it's not closer to hurricane status. It's smack dab in the middle of tropical storm intensity, and we see how it looks. Look at all of the banding, the shards and the thunderstorm spinning around that center of circulation as it pushes towards the north, and it could definitely, bring some amount of rainfall to portions of eastern Japan for sure as it's passing. Even although the center of circulation should be passing to the east of there, some of the outer bands could definitely affect them. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see ridges of high pressure to the north that we know are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. We see a trough right here to the north of Puerto Rico. We see a tropical wave right here across the northeastern portion of South America, another tropical wave to the east of that one. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out all of the entities that we just mentioned. The clouds associated with the trough to the north of Puerto Rico, to the north of the Dominican Republic as well. The clouds associated with that system that the hurricane center is watching that could develop as soon as it passes Florida. And we see the tropical wave right in here that the hurricane center isn't watching it, but it's somewhere down in here, another tropical wave right here to the east of it, just like what we saw on the surface map. And look at this strand of high cirrus clouds being streaked out towards the northeast by that upper level wind shear from off of Colombia. A lot of wind shear across the Caribbean these days, which explains why most of the tropical waves that push through are dissipating, not really bringing us much rainfall at all. But we can definitely make out the low level flow of the clouds being steered from east to west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean's weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Sunday, July 13, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of eastern Jamaica on Sunday morning, also affecting sections of some southern and western parishes during a Sunday afternoon. And we know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Southern parishes, let me find that map quickly. You already know our southern parishes. When it comes to our southern parishes, we're referring to those parishes on the bottom, like Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. While our western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? We didn't get on much of anything in the morning across eastern Jamaica at all, just some partly cloudy skies. I live in the east. I've been watching the satellite images. Nothing took place this morning. Boy, all of these clouds are being dried out by the dry air, not to mention the upper level wind shear. By the time the clouds reach us, they're not packing much in the way of rainfall at all. But daytime heating definitely brought that rainfall to sections of some southern and western parishes, more so sections of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth for sure, because a post was made here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, as well as on our Instagram page with the .Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we saw what was posted at around 3:25 p.m. Some clouds bringing some overcast skies, if not some thunder showers, to sections of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, especially the northern portion of St. Elizabeth. All of these blues, greens, yellows, oranges, and reds represent that cumulonimbus cloud cover. Not to mention the sparkling white dots in there that represent the lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. So northern St. Elizabeth definitely got lashed. Southern and southeastern St. Elizabeth, even Manchester, more so the cloudy conditions. And we saw the thunderstorms across portions of Westmoreland. And some of this might even have seeped into portions of Hanover as well. If we take a look at the visible satellite images right here, we can see that the brunt of today's afternoon thunderstorms definitely across sections of Westmoreland, some of it spilling into Hanover, some of it across sections of St. Elizabeth, sections of northern Manchester, southern Trelawney even got in on some of the action, but clearly everywhere else is just basically partly cloudy, if not sunny skies. And by the time the sun was starting to go down, we saw that everything was starting to clear out as usual. And the infrared satellite imagery right here confirming what took place. Thunderstorms mainly across the southwestern end of the island. And then that brief isolated thunder shower across maybe northern Manchester, southern Trelawney right in there. And that was basically it. And we definitely have confirmation from the live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel showing the Barbican camera at around 1:21 p.m. It was a bit cloudy at that time, but nothing in the way of bad weather, no crazy rainfall, no bad weather at all, just sunny conditions for the most part taking place over there. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit C Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for free for you to watch, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint quite the picture for we might have had that rainfall today. Definitely across sections of the western end of the island, more so the southwestern end. Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth for sure. Even although some areas of Clarendon and St. Catherine are shaded, we know that this map isn't 100% accurate. And we definitely had some of the comments that came in on some of our platforms today. People are tired of the sun. We have Darian Daly here stating, is something wrong with the east of Jamaica? Is west getting rain every day? We have Active 4821 also stating, place lame weather Jamaica. I can just imagine. These days are depressing. Lack of rainfall. I know. We even have on our threads page, Nurse White 69 stating, dry and hot as hell. Even on our Instagram page, we had realm_JA stating, boy, a wagwan for Portmore. Father God, your skip will place hot and humid from 9 a.m. Portmore Bell_ stating, me a burn up. Poor fan can't help me. I'll know the place hot and still. And then we have realm_JA responding, can I tell you, from morning it's super humid and hot. I just want like 2 hours of heavy rain to soak the place. And Shani_Capri_ stating, place hot. I feel your pain. We even have on our Facebook page Randall Green stating, good evening weather Jamaica. It is now very sunny and windy here in Brownstown State, and now thanks for confirming. We have Dreeny RJ stating, it's a bright beach day in Portland. Verona Burke stating, sunny and windy in Outages. Thank you all for confirming what the weather is like in your area today. Alright, let us reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. Let us see what's happening right now. As you can see, all the clouds that took place across the southwest have dissipated. As you can see there, clear skies across much of the island, but it's nighttime, so it's dark for sure. As you can see, that was showing 23:55 UTC, which is actually 6:55 p.m. so this just came out 11 minutes ago, considering that it is 7:06 p.m. right now. And let us see what's happening on the latest Doppler radar imagery, the Cuban Doppler radar, the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, and the Cayman radar. Let us see what's taking place. Alright, so it looks like the Cuban Doppler radar glitched out for the trillionth time. This looks like it glitched out at around 7:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 6:50 a.m. Jamaica time. At that time, we saw some rain bands to the northeast of Portland. That was basically it. But we're looking at what's taking place now, and as you can see, we're actually seeing some rain bands right here to the west of Guantanamo. Some heavy rainfall that lashed the north and to the northwest of Guantanamo, pushing off towards the south and west. But nothing affecting northeastern Jamaica or the western peninsula of Haiti at this time. The Cayman radar, on the other hand, showing some rainfall that took place across southern Cuba. Not seeing much of anything across western Jamaica or the Cayman Islands at all. The live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel is showing what's taking place around the Devon house. That's crazy. Somebody running across the street. The hell? Anyways. Yeah, so the live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel showing what's taking place. What is really going on here? Anyways, the live camera. I guess they're getting a free ride or whatever the case may be from this taxi. Who knows? Alright, so the live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel showing the Devon house. What do you call this? Intersection. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place at this time. People in their vehicles going about their business, and that should be the order of the evening. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we're 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Monday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Monday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Monday, and we can see Jamaica right here, embedded in some slight blues on the east, some grays, and some slight yellows. So it's a mixture of slightly below average, and slightly above average temperatures. I know the average temperature for the month of July across Jamaica is around 91 degrees Fahrenheit. When that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 32.8 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31.8 all the way up to 33.8 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Monday. And unfortunately, we have at least one maintenance outage advisor here from my JPS online Twitter page that we have to highlight. And we know that we have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, please let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Monday, July 14, 2025. We're referring to Prospect in St. Anne from 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It says here, seek shade when outside. Eat fresh, try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of keeping hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water throughout the day, even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. The dry air map, as you know, is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. The yellows, the oranges, the reds, and what's within those reds. And we see the abundance of dry air across the northern portion of the North Atlantic, across the main development region into the Caribbean. A lot of dry, stable air, making it hard for it to rain these days. I know your pain, but what we're liking, that we're seeing, is some moisture across the southwestern Atlantic, into the Gulf, into the eastern Pacific, into the intertropical convergent zone of the Atlantic. But we wish most of that moisture was across our neck of the woods into the Caribbean, into the main development region, because that's when you know we'd be getting more rainfall to keep water in our pipes. Clearly, most of the rainfall these days is across western Jamaica. A lot of daytime heating. We don't see much clouds pushing across the water at all to bring us any rainfall. We're just suffering. But regarding the Saharan dust, at least the Saharan dust should be, taking a break for the next couple of days. So it could increase the amount of rainfall in our area. So we're heading into July 14, July 15, and July 16. So tomorrow, July 14, still have some Saharan dust to endure. Then July 15 should be out of here for the most part. July 16 definitely in the clear. Then clearly some more Saharan dust should be behind that, as you can see here by the greens, yellows, oranges into the pinks. But we're glad that it's not that vigorous of a plume that can cause very hazy skies, but it could trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can clearly see that the highest waves should be wherever we have the dark blues into the purples and the pinks. Right here to the north of Panama, to the north of Colombia. That's a 2 to 2.5 meter wave height. And that's because of the strong easterly winds that are expected. Bright greens into the yellows, 20 to 25 knot winds. But if we zoom in a bit on Jamaica, we can see what's expected. The usual highest wave heights to the south of St. Thomas, 1 meter wave height at that, 0.7 of a meter wave height to the south of Clarendon, 0.5 of a meter wave height to the south of Westmoreland, 0.4 of a meter wave height to the north of Hanover, to the north of St. Anne for tomorrow, 0.6 of a meter wave height to the north of Portland, 0.7 of a meter wave height. So the fisher folk really liking those calm seas, especially on the north and the west coast. And that's because of the winds that are expected. Look at this. Not really such a strong kind of wind flow. We can clearly see that easterly flow for the most part, 12 knots right here to the south of St. Thomas. 10 knots looks like it's coming from the northeast right here to the north of St. Anne. More of a southeasterly flow right here to the south of Manchester, 10 knots. And we see where the air is going to be piling up across inland areas of some central and some western parishes. Could be more so southern parishes, especially given that northeasterly flow, so it could set up more of the activity on the south coast. We'll see exactly what unfolds either way. In terms of the upper level wind shear, we see that the upper level wind shear is still coming in from the north, so that could definitely favor more of that afternoon rainfall across the south coast, just like what we had today when those thunderstorms erupted. We had those cloud tufts being shared off to the south, bringing more of the overcast skies to southern Jamaica. So something similar could definitely happen tomorrow, because the Euro and the GFS models right here are adamant that the most rainfall, as represented by the blues, should be across this south coast. Look at this. The Euro showing the blues that represent rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. But you know, the Euro is always going bonkers, but we're looking at where the darkest set of blues and the greens are located. And if you look closely, it's definitely across the southern parishes like St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew. The GFS kind of in agreement with what the Euro is showing. More so the southern parishes, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, section of Kingston, St. Andrew, and even portion of western St. Thomas. Let's see if I can get in on some of that rainfall. I doubt it, but we'll see. Even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in agreement that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. The Euro going all the way up to 0.75 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS only up to what? 0.36 of an inch of rainfall. Take these forecasts with a grain of salt, because look at the forecast yesterday. The forecast called for some crazy thunderstorms across St. Elizabeth. Yes, it took place, but not to the extent of what was predicted at all. Yesterday's forecast made it seem like, oh, it's some crazy freak storm. They did indeed get on the thunderstorms, but nothing that crazy. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted, and whatever happens, we'll take it, because we're in the month of July. And in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to 50 millimeters of rainfall. In Montego Bay's bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive around 3.2 inches of rainfall. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of July or for the entire year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website to show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. You know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us, according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next 168 hours. That's the next 7 days, just like what the Hurricane Center would look at. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. It's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represent inches of rainfall. So that's what's going to be taking place. So we just looked at Monday's forecast. Now we're going to be looking at Tuesday. As you can see here, 12Z on Tuesday is actually 7 a.m. Don't really see much of anything across Jamaica at that time. Tuesday afternoon, however, we see the greens represent rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Take that forecast as a grain of salt. It's the Euro. The GFS would be making more sense. 12Z on Monday, well, on Tuesday, not showing much of anything. Tuesday afternoon, central and western parishes with that rainfall. That's making more sense. Wednesday morning, what do we see? Not really much of anything for Jamaica. Wednesday afternoon, eastern, central, western parishes on the Euro. GFS, what does it show? Wednesday morning, rainfall in the far eastern end. Wednesday afternoon, rainfall across central and western parishes. That sounds more like it. And we also see an increase in moisture across the eastern Caribbean. I'm sure they're going to be happy about that. From the Windward Islands northward into the Leeward Islands. Interesting that we see that on both the Euro and the GFS. Let's skip ahead to Thursday morning. Thursday morning, maybe some isolated showers across the far eastern end of Jamaica. Thursday afternoon, eastern, central, western parishes with that rainfall. Let's see what the GFS shows. Thursday morning, eastern Jamaica with that rainfall. Thursday afternoon, sections of mainly central and western parishes. Let us see what Friday morning shows. On Friday morning, not really seeing much of anything across Jamaica at that time. Friday afternoon, not really seeing much, maybe some isolated showers across the central portions. That's what the GFS shows. Friday morning, maybe some rainfall to the north of us, maybe the far eastern end of the island. Friday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across the far western end of the island. Let us see what Saturday morning brings. On Saturday morning, not really showing much on the Euro. Saturday afternoon, eastern, central, and western parishes with that rainfall. And then we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Sunday, July 20, and we see rainfall to the west of us, to the south of us, to the east of us. Interesting. Let's see if we have the agreement for Saturday and Sunday on the GFS. Saturday morning, rainfall to the east and to the northeast of us. Saturday afternoon, rainfall across mainly central and western parishes. Then we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. Don't see that rainfall surrounding the island like what the Euro was showing. But regarding the total rainfall that's expected over the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are still adamant that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be wherever we have the dark reds into the purples and the pinks. You can see here that represent the 2 all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall for portion of northern South America into portion of Central America right in here. We also see some of that in the section of Florida and other areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds, at least up to an inch of rainfall or less. Expected for portions of the Greater Antilles into the Bahamas and portions of the Lesser Antilles as well. And regarding Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation forecast for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are still adamant that the most rainfall should be, well, from the Euro, it's still showing that the most rainfall should be in the far eastern end, 43 millimeters of rainfall at that. And the pattern is stuck these days, crazy. The western end of the island is what the GFS shows that should be receiving the most rainfall, maybe up to the 30 millimeters of rainfall range. I wonder that most of that rainfall will be during the afternoon. Whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what's taking place across the rest of the Caribbean. As stated, we have a trough right here to the north of Hispaniola, the trough of low pressure that's trying to develop as it pushes across Florida into the northern Gulf right here to the southeast of the US. You can see the moisture associated with the numerous tropical waves across the main development region trying to push westward. Some isolated showers are currently passing through portion of the eastern Caribbean. I'm sure they're grateful for the moisture. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we can make out some of the moisture. All of these greens representing some light to moderate rainfall, some of it affecting portion of Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands. St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique getting out some of that. And if we load these images from earlier today, we can see that portion of central to western Puerto Rico definitely gotten out some of that moisture. So to Martinique, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, and they're still getting out some of that rainfall. Even the Barbados area getting out some isolated light to moderate rainfall. So too that area to the east of Dominica pushing inward. We see some of that rainfall coming in from the east towards Martinique, some of that rainfall coming in from the east towards St. Lucia already getting us some of that St. Vincent as well. We see some rainfall right there to the east of Grenada and to the northeast of Trinidad and Tobago, more so Tobago. And regarding the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall across sections of Florida, western Cuba, the Yucatan, northern Guatemala, Honduras getting on some moderate heavy rainfall. We see some rain bands across sections of Colombia, northwestern and northeastern Venezuela as well. And regarding where the brunt of the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that the most rainfall should be across sections of Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, southern and western Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize. We see some rainfall definitely in store from the northern portion of the Bahamas, section of Florida, section of Cuba, some rainfall for Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, section of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and sections of Barbados getting on some of that action. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS modes are in agreement with this forecast. And we know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.